All right, good Thursday morning to you. I am Fox 26 meteorologist John Dawson. This is our morning weather update. I hope you've had a brisk and cool morning. Maybe you had just enough of the cold weather that you're still in a pleasant mood and not upset by the chill that was in the air. Or maybe you like it even colder. Well, hang in there. We're definitely going to be changing things a little bit to the pattern that we've been in. But for the most part, we'll be discussing milder temperatures. So if you want to consider us on a roller coaster with temperatures and everything, I would think we're probably down here at the bottom, starting to click our way up, as we are expecting a gradual warming trend as we move through the next couple of days. But I'll tell you, this afternoon and especially tomorrow afternoon, absolutely gorgeous weather for Southeast Texas. These are the fall days that you really want to see. So if you have the opportunity to make some sort of outdoor plans, whether it just be sitting on the patio for lunch, or maybe you want to get out to a state park or do something, highly encourage you to investigate all those options out there, because again, this is really going to be a couple nice and pleasant days here for Southeast Texas this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. And the rest of the days as we get into the weekend aren't going to be bad. They're just not going to be quite as exceptional as what we're looking at for this afternoon and again tomorrow afternoon. So temperatures right now, we're not even at 60 degrees yet in the downtown Houston area. We're 58, lots of clear skies. It's quiet, probably mostly sunny than all out sunny, but we won't get too tied down to the little finer details of things. Certainly feels pleasant with the amount of humidity that's fairly low for us. Now yesterday, these were the high temperatures. Generally speaking, we'll say lower 60s. Today, we're going to be upper 60s, again, in some very general terms. We'll have little pockets here or there that are a little bit different, but lower 60s yesterday, upper 60s for today. And this morning, it was a chilly morning. You'll remember we had the freeze warning that was in effect for some of our northern counties. We really didn't cool down that close to freezing, except for the Cleveland area. It certainly did. They were right about that freezing mark. So Huntsville made it down to 37 degrees. College Station 39. The folks in Brenham at 34. Katy also did 34 this morning. And of course, I was a little surprised to see these cool temperatures down in Brazoria and Matagorda counties, really lower 30s for you folks. A little bit of a pocket of cooler air. I think maybe the winds were just a little light as well. And right on the water in Galveston, stayed mild at 50 degrees. So our weekend forecast really hasn't changed that much. Isolated chances for some showers, primarily to the coast, and we'll also look for mostly cloudy skies, and you'll begin to feel the humidity building back up, and reasonable temperatures. Around 80 or lower 80s is kind of what we're expecting. The trend that we've been seeing, for so long, when we looked at the last month worth of data, again, 31 days worth, we were really just seeing nothing but way above average temperatures. And then we sort of got into things here at the beginning of October, kind of kept the temperatures a little bit below average, and then we wrapped up October well above average, and now we're sort of jumping into the beginning of November, and again, we're well below those averages again. So bouncing around a little bit with those temperatures is what we're seeing right now. Current temperatures, we talked about it being around 58 degrees in the downtown Houston area. Cooler air out there as you go to the north, 53 right now in Huntsville, 56 in Tomball. Pearland also at 58, and a quick warm up down there where it was cool this morning in Angleton and Bay City, now about 61 degrees. Our winds will be working their way to the east. We've had them at the northeast. Now we're going to get them to the east, and the east winds are always kind of a neutral wind. It doesn't make a big difference on the temperature, doesn't make a big difference on the humidity levels, but they're on their way getting back to the southeast. And once we get those southeast winds, that's water coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico, and certainly that always changes things with the fact that the Gulf of Mexico is a little bit warmer, a little bit more humid than really what's happening over the air a little bit. So we will we'll move on here and talk about again those temperatures that we're seeing across the area right now. We've got 59 in Sugar Land, Wharton at 62 degrees, and Columbus at 58 degrees. The Fox Red Storm Seeker radar, that's a clean sweep. Not really looking at a whole lot of rain across the area, and that we're going to kind of keep it that way. This high pressure is actually over here to the east now. You can see the winds sort of with that churn, so that high pressure has moved over. That's helping to bring us those east winds, and eventually we get to those southeast winds. All right, so when we look at the rain expectations for the next 5 days, you'll notice most of the state of Texas is dry. We got a little bit of a blip of green here right in the Houston area, and we break that down even more day by day for southeast Texas, and it's Saturday, Sunday, maybe even a little bit of Monday where we see these isolated showers, just a little extra moisture that's kind of pocketing its way in, and also some little less stability overall kind of leads us to the possibility of some of that rain. All right. Allergens. I've been watching these for the ragweed. I'm sure you've got your specifics that you're looking at and things moving around a little bit. Our tree pollen actually went up a little bit in the last 24 hours. Our ragweed is holding steady at medium. I was afraid it might click up a notch with the fact that we haven't had a lot more rain to kind of clear things out. We'll see. I would expect that might. I don't think we're done with the ragweed yet. So I think we're going to see a little bit more there. Grass pollen is down, and the mold spores have also kicked up within the last 24 hours. Temperature-wise, upper 60s is where we're going to find ourselves today, and we might get a few folks hitting 70, but for the most part, it's still well below the average. 78 degrees is the average high temperature for today's date. So, okay, a correction, make that 77 degrees is the average for today's date. So again, 9 to 10 degrees cooler than average, but still warmer than what we saw yesterday. This is so far, we've made it up to 55. That's the official overnight low at Intercontinental Airport at 37. And then remember, we're going to be seeing our sunset and sunrise shift back an hour. So that means it'll seem like the sun setting earlier. It sets at the same time. We're just moving our clocks around, and so we just have to make adjustments for it, kind of a thing with the daylight saving time coming to an end. Fortunately, not near the records. I always like to be able to say that. So great looking afternoon, around 70 degrees. Cool tonight, but not as cold as what it was last night, so milder overall. Set ourselves up, as I've talked about, that beautiful day for tomorrow. We continue that gradual warming, and so while we find ourselves in the 60s for the most of us today, we'll be in the mid 70s, starting off in the 40s. Those are the temperatures that I personally really like. 40s in the morning, or upper 40s. Get some mid 70s in the afternoon, plenty of sunshine. That's a fantastic day on tap. Relatively dry, humidity still for the city of Houston. There's that time change. Remember, if you like to follow the rules, 2 a.m. is when you set that clock back on Sunday. You get the extra hour of sleep, though, and then we get those temperatures right about 80 degrees. As we get into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we are increasing our temperatures. You'll also notice a bit of an increase in the humidity levels. They're creeping up a little bit more, but still fairly reasonable overall, and we're looking for these mornings to be much milder. Mornings in the 60s, which is still very reasonable, respectable for this time of the year, instead of having them in the 40s, or even, you know how there was a patch there where we couldn't even get out of the 70s, it seemed like, in the overnights. All right, that's going to do it for our morning update. Again, I'm Fox 26 meteorologist John Dawson. I'm at John Dawson Fox 26 if you want to look for me on any social media. And as always, however you're watching me right now, whether you're on your device, you're in front of your TV with the Fox Local app, which is our favorite way for you to watch, or if you're on fox26houston.com, hang in there. Come on back in about 22 minutes and we'll give